Hi, this is Brad Henry, and I'm with Technologic. I am the owner and proprietor of the company. And what we are going to take a look at today is how to use Google Wave in an educational setting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief overview of Google Wave and give you some background information as how I came about into working with Google Wave and some of my thoughts on Google Wave. So the first thing is just the basic setup. You've got a navigation menu here to the menu, which is pretty basic, and the ability to create folders and save searches. You've got contacts down to your lower left-hand corner. And in order to add somebody to a contact, or as a contact, they have to have a valid Google Wave account. In the center, these are all of the Google Waves that I currently have access to, and which many that I've created. And then to the right-hand side is the actual Google Wave itself. Now, one of the first things that I want to discuss about Google Wave is that when I first became part of the beta project, one of the first things that I noticed when I went in is that it looked like just a giant blank piece of paper. And I kind of looked, and there was no real direction on how to use the tool, and I quickly dismissed it because my first conclusion is that it's so underwhelming that it's overwhelming. And what I mean by that is without having any clear direction or idea of how to use a tool and use it effectively, a lot of users get discouraged. They don't have time to sit down and figure out how to use a tool. What does it mean? How is this going to improve my life, or how is this going to be used in my classroom? None of those questions were answered. So I put Google Wave down for about 6 months, and after seeing some articles come up, I decided to revisit it. But rather than look at Google Wave and look for any glorious stories about how great Google Wave was, I decided to read a lot of the critical critiques. And what I learned from reading those critical critiques was what a lot of people were having issues with, or just didn't know how to identify with the tool. That's what really clued me in and really prompted me and gave me some incentive to get in to learn how to leverage the tool. So it almost kind of became a game or a challenge for me. So what I decided to do is I sat down with a few of the tools, added a slew of plugins, and I just started playing. That's how I learned to use Google Wave. And that's what prompted me to think, okay, so now I know I've got access to a variety of resources. Now, what does this mean in the context of a learning environment or a classroom? And of course, the one single biggest tool that really caught me was the real-time translation of chat. And so that's when I decided to focus on foreign language learners. So I took a PSYOP lesson plan. And for those of you that are not familiar with PSYOP, it is a method for instruction for foreign language learners, primarily English as a second language. And I took a multicultural lesson and converged the two into one lesson. And I can't think of a better time to use a multicultural lesson plan than in February for Black History Month. So in the next segment, we're going to begin to take a look at that lesson. But the other thing that I would like you to do is take a look at the overview of the project and the syllabus. That will help to clue you in and give you some idea of how this is going to function and work. So I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.